This is Take 5 with Bentley, Nevada. In the studio with me again today is Tim Sykes with Augury, the partner sales manager who is deeply involved in the relationship with Bentley, Nevada. Tim, welcome back. Glad to have you.
Thanks, Steve.
Tim, in the last episode, we talked a little bit about the differences with the subscription-based offering that's powered by Augury, because it's not based on walk-around portable data collection. And you mentioned there's real issues when you try to scale this. Anything based on walking around and collecting data and manually reviewing the data, generating reports and things, there's not much leverage. You have to, if you want to double, I think, the number of assets, typically have to double the hours. If you want to extend this across different continents, as you mentioned, now you're probably dealing with different providers, different diagnostic methodologies, different data. It's hard to consolidate the data and so forth. And you mentioned that a lot of the customers that we're working with have multiple sites and sites on different continents, and this offering basically circumvents all those issues. And you also started to talk about, and I'd like you to continue with this discussion of AI. What is it about AI that kind of, I know it's an overused phrase, but in this case, I think it's true. What is it about AI that changes the game?
Yeah, I think if we take a look at the history of manufacturing, and manual processes don't scale, right? To your point, if you want to double the number of machines that you have monitored on, let's say a walk-around program, you need to double the amount of hours that are dedicated to your contractor to do that, right? And if you want to do that at scale, then you're probably going to have to likely hire more people. And those people typically only work 8 to 10 hours a day. If they're like me, they might work a little longer. But the process is just not, from a manual perspective, not very scalable like we talked about. And so you need a different tool and a different technology to enable what we're trying to do, right? And what we're trying to do is deliver machine health insights to our manufacturing customers on an enterprise scale. And so our AI monitors hundreds of thousands of machines across the globe, and we've been doing this for a number of years. And it's specifically built to inform our customers that their machines are failing, how those machines are failing, and prescribes recommended actions for what they can do to prevent that machine from failing catastrophically, right? And in turn, eliminate unplanned downtime, reduce maintenance costs, increase worker efficiencies, and improve the lives generally of their maintenance teams. And so, but in order to do that continuously, 24 hours a day, and do that for assets that are distributed across the globe, we need a technology to be able to implement that. And in this case, that technology is artificial intelligence.
So, Tim, if I understand one of the differences, if we look at, we'll call it a conventional model. So whether you're walking around to collect data or even if you're using an online approach, a conventional approach is threshold based. So you might set an alarm for the ball pass frequency on the bearing, the outer race, the inner race, the machine fundamental turning speed, the vane pass. So it's not out of the question that you might have to set half a dozen to a dozen threshold alarms and then tweak them over time and manage them and respond to them. And that can get kind of unwieldy. And I think AI gives you a very different approach to that. Can you unpack that a little bit for us?
Yeah. So, whether, I think you hit it kind of on the head, right, is the threshold-based analysis or the threshold-based alerting systems, if you will, require a lot of manual intervention, right? It's setting up the thresholds in the first place, and those can be relatively simple if you just base them on ISO thresholds. But typically those get tuned depending on particular machine's operation. And when a threshold is crossed, it flags and it tells somebody at the manufacturer, or an outsourced third party that the data for this particular machine needs to be looked at. But that's typically as far as it goes. It doesn't give any sort of indication as to what the issue might be. A human needs to go and interpret that data. So you need a subject matter expert. And versus AI, right? The AI has been trained. It continues to learn. It has subject matter expertise and knowledge embedded into its algorithms, and it is continuously delivering these sorts of insights on at scale. Right, I use that word a lot. But different than the traditional threshold-based approach, our AI. We've done some studies on this internally. We took a sample of 31,000 alerts that we generated, and we compared them to what we would have seen if we had generated those same alerts just using threshold-based analysis. Mm-hmm. And what we saw was we were able to identify 20% more issues with machines mm-hmm. using our AI versus threshold-based analysis, right? But simultaneously, we're also able to reduce the number of false alerts caused by threshold-based alerts, right, by upwards of 60%. So we're getting more clear and faster alerting using AI, while simultaneously reducing the number of alerts that our operators are faced with. And so we're kind of improving the accuracy simultaneously as while we're delivering more continuous diagnostics.
So let me repeat what I just heard you say, Tim. The fact that you're using AI, I mean, although you didn't say it, it's certainly what I was thinking is that AI doesn't need people. Once you've turned it on and it's looking at all this data, it's not like you need an army of people to analyze all this incoming data streams. The AI can do that all by itself. So you've immediately reduced the number of people in your cost structure because they don't have to review all this incoming data. The AI is doing that. You also said that if we think of it in terms of false positives, if you will, thinking there's a problem when there isn't really, you were able to impact that by 60%. And I think I heard you say 20% in terms of where a conventional threshold-based approach would have missed something that was really happening, and you were able to identify 20% that would have been missed by a conventional approach that way.
That's right. And I want to clarify something too. So it's important to understand that the ideal scenario, right, where the nirvana of AI is, right, is that AI it becomes a fully automated process, right? Mm-hmm. And the fact of the matter is that we're not quite there yet. And so our approach to AI and our offering is a hybrid intelligence of sorts.
Yes.
So included in our offering are category 3 and 4 vibration analysts that help us to validate some of the AI.
Right.
So there are some AI indications that are highly confident, and we have we have a full belief that the alert that we're sending to a particular customer, it's real, it's actionable, and we don't require a human to review it. And there's lots of detectors that we have that go ahead and do that. But there are some subtleties in the data. The AI is imperfect, and so this is where we use our vibration analysts to help inform the AI, right? Mm-hmm. And so, and this process continuously improves and trains the AI, right, as our vibration analysts are labeling it. But it also simultaneously ensures that what the customer is receiving, right, the manufacturers, the operators, what they're receiving is something that's real and actionable, and not something that the AI is really kind of just guessing at.
Yes.
And so we're doing the alerting with the AI. We're calculating what the likelihood of and confidence of the root cause might be. And then our vibration analysts, in some cases, are actually validating that that's true before we send it across to the platform. And they serve a number of other functions as well, but that's one of the primary and how they work through our hybrid intelligence approach.
Yeah, and I think a lot of customers actually see that as a positive, not a negative. So let's continue that. That's a fascinating topic for us to continue talking about. So Tim, stay where you are. We're going to bring you right back in for the next episode. And with that, you've been listening to Take 5 with Bentley, Nevada, a Baker Hughes business. We'll see you next time.